Underserved by Olivia. So today's video is one that I've wanted to film for a while, so I'm happy I'm finally getting the chance to sit down and do it. So this is all about what it's like, just a Q&A honestly, about being a Black woman who lives and works abroad. I feel like I get a ton of questions every time I go home or just from my friends and family about what it's like to live abroad, what is the visa process like, what does it cost. So I really want to start to like dive into that more here on my channel, both for Europe, so Paris and Hong Kong. So if you're interested in hearing more about what it's like for me as a Black woman who lives and works abroad, just keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. So all in all, I would say living abroad, or deciding to live abroad, was honestly the best decision I ever could have made in life. You know, it completely changed the trajectory of my entire life and just opened and just broadened my horizons in so many different ways. And I think, you know, especially as a Black woman, I think it's important for me to show you guys this because I want you to know that it's possible for you too. I think a lot of people in the US have this view or this fear that, you know, oh, I'm gonna experience all these horrible things or it's gonna be racist, and it's like, it's not like that everywhere. I think the mentality in the US is so different from everywhere else in the world, and you're never gonna know that if you don't experience it for yourself. So living abroad has been absolutely amazing for me. And again, this is just my experience. I know that it isn't like this for everyone. I completely recognize the huge amounts of privilege that I have to even have the kind of lifestyle that I have. So I hope that me sharing my experiences and just taking you guys along for the ride that is my life inspires you to go after your dream, whatever it may be, whether it's, you know, living abroad, working abroad, going to a new city, you can do it. So if this is your first time watching my videos, hey, I'm Olivia. Let me just give you a little bit of background before we jump into the questions. So I'm from Jersey. I went to school in DC. That was like the Olivia Pope years. It's fabulous. I moved to New York City for work. I worked at a Big Four in the financial services office. I got tired of my job in New York, wanted something new, and I moved to Paris just because it was a dream of mine for work and just to live. And then me and Mr. Olivia moved to Hong Kong. So, but yeah, so that's essentially all the places that I've lived. It's honestly been great having the opportunity to live in so many different places and travel as much as I have. So yeah, that is the short version, just to give you some perspective. So I obviously know a ton about visas, about opening foreign bank accounts, about taxes, all of that. So I have the questions here on my phone, so if you see me looking down, that's why. So I'm just gonna run through basically like the top 10 questions that I typically get. So the first question is, how much does it cost to move abroad? This will really depend on you and your lifestyle. So for me, and again, I'm just gonna be sharing my experiences. So for me, I know what kind of lifestyle I want. Like, maybe that sounds bad, like, but I have a certain lifestyle, like a standard of living that I know I'm gonna keep regardless of where I live in the world. So for me, I needed to move to Paris from New York. I saved $10,000. And that was to last me, you know, obviously spending money for after I left my job and just, you know, plane tickets, security deposits, and then some spending money. So that had to last me a few months until I got my first paycheck. I got set up and everything. So depending on which country you want to move to, it could be different for you. So again, maybe if you're moving to somewhere else in the world or to Asia or I don't know, you may need less, but for me it was 10,000. I would say the biggest thing would be to set a budget. I'm gonna do a full in-depth video on this about how to save for moving abroad and all of that, so stay tuned for that, but definitely budget so you can kind of track out what you think you'll need. The next question is one that I hear all the time, like even today. So what did your parents have to say about this, and like, do your parents just pay for everything? They're amazing. I love them. Hi guys. They had the exact reaction of what you probably are thinking. They were like, what are you doing? And I said this in one of my videos before. When I said I wanted to move to Paris, it was like I was running away to join the circus. They were just like, we did not pay for school, all this stuff for you to just be like running around the world. They definitely, in the beginning, they definitely didn't understand, but I think now, obviously it's been like almost 4 years. I think now they've gotten used to it, obviously, but in the beginning they were like shocked. They actually didn't think I was gonna do it because I was planning for like over a year before this happened. So I think they were just like, okay, Olivia's just talking. But then when I really did it, they were like, oh, you're serious. And that's the other thing. So when people say like, oh, did your parents like pay for this? Did they just pay for your life? Like, no. I can't even imagine. Like, I don't know what kind of relationship you guys have with your parents. Obviously they're there for me and they support me in everything that I do, but they're not gonna like fund my lifestyle, you know? So, and again, I knew that when I wanted to move abroad, so that's why I've always had a job or try to have some kind of savings when I move so that I can still support myself. But no, so to answer the question, no, my parents don't pay for everything. I pay for my own bills. They obviously would help me if I ever needed anything, but they raised me to be independent. Next question, so what was the visa process like? So I'm actually gonna do a full video on this, but I think it was a lot easier in Hong Kong than Paris. Paris was a little more tricky just because there was a lot more admin, bureaucracy type stuff to do, but it was pretty straightforward. So when I moved to Paris, I had to get a job before I could move and before I could get my visa and everything set up. So I actually went through the French-American Chamber of Commerce to get my visa and was able to go through them to help me to secure my visa, and then I just started working. So it was fairly simple. And in Hong Kong, it was really easy. Like, it's really easy to go to a lot of countries in Asia because they want foreign workers and they need foreign workers. Obviously, this is pre-pandemic, so again, let me just add that caveat in there. This was all pre-pandemic, but it was really straightforward. I would say the process is definitely easier in Asia than Europe, but again, it depends on where you want to go. The next question is, how do you maintain your relationships? So I feel like when I first moved abroad, so this was 2017, when I first moved to Paris, I lost so many friends. I mean, you know, but you start to just realize who's important in your life. It may not be the people who you think, but I have, like, you know, my best friends, like the people, my ride or die people, like, and my sisters, and like that's all I need, you know. So I think the way to maintain my relationships with those people is just, I'm really intentional about talking to everyone. So, you know, we have a family chat. I FaceTime with my parents at least 1 to 2 times a week. I call my best friend like every week. I'm always, even if I don't talk to everybody all the time, I'm always like texting or in communication with them. So I try to make it a point that, like, even if I can't physically be there, like, I'm present when we do talk or when we do have time. And that's really, really important to me because it's very challenging with the time difference. So being in Asia right now, I'm 13 hours ahead of New York, which is like awful. So when I was in Paris, it was usually 6 or 7 hours, which is better to manage. But again, you just have to be really intentional about keeping up with people and making time for everyone. What is the food like? That's another question. Again, it depends where you go. So I think in Hong Kong, you can find a lot of Western food and obviously a lot of Asian food. A lot of noodles, rice, stir fry, dumplings, like world-class Michelin-starred dumplings. I love the food in Asia now. And France obviously is more European, a lot of cheese, a lot of bread, a lot less healthy, I would say, than Asia. But yeah, 2 different types of food. I think especially now, it's such a, like, the world is so global, you can kind of, like, even if you move someplace that maybe didn't have the type of food that you like, you could always try to make it. So I wouldn't let food stop you from living abroad or something like that. Next question. What is it like working in a foreign country? I'm gonna have to do a whole video on this, but I think it's one thing to experience culture shock and just like homesickness or whatever if you're on vacation or if you're studying, but it's a completely different situation when you're working because it's like, I still need to work, I still need to support myself. So I would say it's challenging, but in a good way. It really forces you to grow and look at things from a different perspective. So I know for me, I really enjoyed that, like, when I was in Europe, the world was from a European focus, and it was interesting to see how that impacted the work. And then again, same in Hong Kong. It's really interesting to see the world from like a Chinese Asia perspective. So, and again, I never would have had that if I hadn't left the US. I think it's very fascinating, and I think it's really valuable for everyone. I really think everyone should live or work abroad at some point in their life, but culture shock is real, and it's a million times worse when you're working. The next question that I got was basically just like, what is the cost of living, and you know, how much is your rent? And again, this varies. This will vary depending on which city you want to live in. So fortunately, unfortunately, I live in like some of the most expensive cities in the world. So all of the places that I've lived, so Paris and Hong Kong, have been comparable to New York City. So my rent in Paris was, I think, 1,150 euros plus utilities, so maybe like 1,300 a month euros for a 1-bedroom in Montmartre. I'll leave the video for my Paris apartment tour so you can see. And then the rent in Hong Kong is actually ridiculous. It's so expensive. It's we have a 1-bedroom here with a patio and everything, and I want to say it's like 2,000 something. I need to do the conversion. I would say the cost of living in Paris was a lot cheaper than Hong Kong. Hong Kong is definitely comparable, I would say, to New York or London, and it's just very, very expensive. But also the salaries are higher too to combat that, but you know, So the next question would be, what is it like to, like, you know, make friends, dating abroad, all of that? I would say it was really hard to meet people in Paris, just because of the way French culture is, and because I was working and I wasn't studying. That's definitely an important thing to mention. Like, your life is going to be so different if you're moving abroad to work as opposed to going abroad to study and explore and just see a new culture. So for me, it was really hard. I met people through work. It was amazing dating, you know, Mr. Olivia, and like falling in love in Paris was just like amazing, I would say that. But yeah, overall, making friends in France was really, really hard. I would say it's way easier to make friends in Hong Kong just because it's a city full of foreign people who are from someplace else, who want to explore, who are doing cool things. So I found that I've had a much better time, even during a pandemic, of making friends than I did in France. So last question, New York, Paris, or Hong Kong? Which one do I prefer? That is such a hard question, and I feel like you can't compare them, you know? I love them all for different reasons. Obviously, being in the US is amazing because I get to be around my friends and family, which again I would not trade for anything. It's amazing. But Paris was also a dream come true for a different reason, and Hong Kong has been a dream come true for a completely different set of reasons. So I think I like them all for different reasons. I like the US because it's home, you know, it's where my family is, my friends are. I like Paris just because it's beautiful, the shopping, the fashion. It's like inspiring. You literally feel like when you're walking down the street, it's just like a dream come true. And I really enjoy the lifestyle in Hong Kong. The weather is nice, the people are friendly, really fabulous shopping as well. Not even gonna lie, the shopping in Hong Kong is absolutely fabulous. So I really enjoy them all for different reasons, and it's kind of like you have like homes all over the world, you know? So I really enjoy that. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you live and work abroad, what it's been like for you. I would love for this video to just be a resource for everyone, or even just a place where you can, you know, talk about your dreams or like where you would love to move to. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.